Here with Washington State rowing coach Jane LaRivere. Coach, your team heads down to Sacramento this week. It's the race of the year. It's the race you've been gearing towards all season, the Pac-12 Championships. How excited for you that this part of the season's finally here, and kind of what are your expectations as your team heads down to Sacramento on Sunday?
Yeah, I think the team is ready to go. We gear up for Pac-12s, obviously, and our expectation is that we figure out how to have the best race we possibly can when it matters the most, which is Pac-12s, because that ultimately is going to influence the selection for NCAAs. So, the team has been training really well. We've just come off of exam week, so last week was a little bit crazy because we had boats practicing at different times, and some days that we couldn't get them together. And I don't know if you remember, but it's pretty windy. So, that isn't necessarily perfect, but it's not unusual. It's just spring. And it seems like it's been forever since we've been to Sacramento. And, Pac-12 is always there. And often in our history, we've gone there for regattas and stuff. And yeah, pretty excited to go back to Sacramento.
You mentioned that a little bit too. This is the first time they've had it in a couple of years. Last season it got canceled because of the COVID pandemic. You have a lot of experience down there yourself as a head coach. The team, you have a couple of rowers that maybe have a handful of experience, but for a lot of the rowers, it's going to be their first time going down to Sacramento and racing in this course and in this regatta. What kind of advice or what kind of tidbits have you been passing down to help the team prepare maybe mentally for a race like this?
Well, I don't think that I've been passing tidbits specifically about Sacramento, but this year has been a year of firsts. It's first time racing in Las Vegas, first time racing in Cincinnati for the program. So they've shown that they can kind of handle new situations, and the cohesion on the team is really good right now. And I think that whenever you have good chemistry, they just roll with it. It doesn't matter where they're rowing; they're just going to row, and they're going to get in the boat, and they're going to do their best. So I think that's all that we might get a little bit more detailed if we look at the forecast and there's some particular wind or whatever, but otherwise it's just, business as usual. We just got to go down and take care of what we can control and not worry about anything else.
You have some familiarity with these teams as well, some more than others. You were able to see the bulk of the Pac-12 in Las Vegas earlier this month, I believe in April. Talk a little bit about that familiarity and how is that going to help you prepare and just kind of, help the team have some confidence, get familiarity against the team that they're going to race against again and see again.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've had some quite close racing, with USC and Oregon State, and, I'll be curious to see what UCLA has, because I really don't know what to expect. So I think that having that close proximity to some of the other Pac-12 teams is really motivating for the team. So I don't think it's anything but a positive to we're not going to be surprised by who's got speed and who's kind of right there. And so I think it's going to be really good just to, get out there and once and for all figure it out with this sort of all the preparation leading towards this at the end of the day.
Kind of the elephant in the room a little bit too, as you go into the regatta, you guys are on the bubble for the NCAA. You guys are kind of towards the tail end to come in of the top 20 polls. A strong performance at this race could really do a lot of good for you guys. So is this kind of something that you guys have talked about as a team, use as motivation, or is it something that you guys have kind of put in the back of your head and be like, let's go out and just do the best that we can? How has your team just approached that mentally going into this last regatta, being on the bubble?
Well, I barely ever talk about the poll. The poll is the poll, it's like a bunch of, I don't think it's super accurate all the time, but it's not saying that that's not where we're at. But we definitely, I think, regularly we have to perform at Pac-12s. I think we did some good work at the Big Ten invite, but there's a lot of other teams that have kind of have not been to NCAAs who are have made pretty strong statements. I think that there is a path if we do our best, and if we, we're gonna have to beat a few people, right? But that's just, that's not the focus. Is getting our performance out and, understanding that, it's a bit cliche, but we can't speed anybody up and we can't slow anybody else down. We can only look after ourselves. So I think that's been the focus, practically my whole coaching career, is just we got to just take care of business and do our best, and then accept where the chips fall. You know, and I think what I like about this team is that I think that they're going to do their best.